Good morning everyone. I am Physical Science CRT KGBV Kavali, Nellore district. I am teaching lesson 8th class. First lesson, force. Force. We can observe many changes around us. Changes in seasons, changes in sunset, sunrise, and tides of sea, etc. Have you ever thought about these changes behind these changes? In ancient days, people believed to an invisible force acting on the activities. Later, the concept of force developed, but it was limited to explaining our efforts and actions. So, at that time, force is the efforts, power, and strength. Is the same meaning at that time. So, we pulling a chair and pushing a chair, close the door and open the door, and pulling a trolley car and pushing a heavy huge bench or car. These are the some activities. We also see the textbooks in some activities: digging borewell, sipping with a juice, and erasing the letters of blackboard with a duster, and hoisting the flag, and fruits fall from the tree. These are the some activities. These activities pull or push or both. So finally, we conclude that force is a force. Force is a pull or push. Force is a pull or push. Force is a pull or push. Even next one is the if an object slip on the hand, it falls down. And what pulls it down? What pulls it down? This object pulls the pulling with the down. And if a ball or this bottle roll on the surface. That ball after some time that bottle stops. Why in these two situations these objects which force acting on that bodies? So types of forces. Next one is types of force. How many types of forces? Two types. So first we can see the magnetic compass. Why do the magnetic compass deflected to the near to the bar magnet? And why do we press the toothpaste and come out to the toothpaste? In these two situations, we keenly observe it. In first situation, the magnetic compass deflected to the near to the bar magnet. So, it is a two objects not in contact. So, this activity acting on force. So, today we will discuss about the types of forces. So, first one is field force. Field force and contact force. Field force or contact force. First, activity 1 first. The bar magnet near to the magnetic compass. That magnetic compass is deflected. What forces acting on that magnetic compass? The field force or force at a distance So, this is Kshetra Balam. Kshetra balam. This one Swarsa balam. Swarsa balam. Definition is the force which occurs without any physical contact between two objects is known as field force or force at a distance. So, we observe first activity, bar magnet and magnetic compass. The forces without contact, without contact, the bar magnet without contact, the attracted only without contact. So, this force is field force. The definition is force which occurs without directly physical contact between two objects. Force which occurs without any physical contact between two objects. So, this is examples of field force. Examples. First one is magnetic force. And second one is electrostatic force. And third one is gravitational force. These are the examples of which force? Field force or a force at a distance. We will discuss about that class. And next one is, second one is contact force. Contact means two objects with direct contact. We will discuss about the activity. We will press the toothpaste. We will press the tube, come out to the toothpaste, and two objects is directly interacting with two objects. So, this definition is force which results there is a directly physical contact between two interactive objects is known as which force? Contact force. See the children? Force which results there is a directly physical contact between two interactive objects is known as contact force. So, some examples. Examples of contact force. First one is muscular force. Second one is frictional force. And third one is normal force. And fourth one is tension. So So these are the examples of which force? Contact force. Okay children, how many types of forces? Types of forces is two types. One is field force or force at a distance, and second one is contact force. The definition, what are the examples? So in examples one by one we will discuss about clearly. Examples of field force. First one is magnetic force. Ayskanta balamu. And observing the magnetic force. Observing the magnetic force. Observing the magnetic force. So first we take sieving needle, just like a sieving needle. This rubbed with a bar magnet with several times and same direction. Several times rubbing with same direction. After some time, this needle is magnetized. How can you identify it? This is near to the bar magnet, near to the magnetic compass. That magnetic compass deflected and direction is changed. So the directions of North Pole, one end of the North Pole and one end of the South Pole. To pick the end of the foam is two poles. One is the North Pole and one is the South Pole. And see that this is a sieve. This is another sieve. And make the another sieve just like a same manner. This is two sieves. And take a bowl which filled with water, and put on these two sieves. That sieves are float on the water, and each sieves have two poles. One is the North Pole and another one is the South Pole. This one also North Pole and South Pole. So these sieves are two white. This color is white color. This is red color. Same. This is white and this is red. We clearly observe it. We can also learn about in 6th class the basic property of magnetism. What is that? You can remember it? Okay, yes, very good. That is like poles. That is like poles of two magnets. Two magnets repel to each other. Like poles of two magnets repel to each other, and unlike poles of two magnets attract to each other. So we are learning about basic theory of magnetism. Like poles of two magnets repel to each other, unlike poles of two magnets attracted to each other. So this one applying for two sieves. In this two white color poles, two repel or attracted. Very good. Two white colors are two red color foams is repel to each other, and one white color and another one is red is attracted to each other. One white foam or one red and white is attracted. Attracted to each other. So, in this activity, an invisible force acting on that situation. So, that invisible force is magnetic force. Which force? Magnetic force. So, the magnetic force is the example of which force? Field force or force at a distance. You understand, children? The magnetic force is which force? Example of which force? Field force. So, these two north poles or two south poles repel to each other, and one north and south or south and north poles are attracted to each other. This is the basic property of magnetism. So, we finally these are two north poles and two south poles are repelled, and one north pole, one south pole is attracted. So this is finally example for which force? Field force. Next one is electrostatic force. Next one is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. Next one is electrostatic force. In electrostatic force is doing this activity. Take a balloon rubbed with inflate of tie and open end. The rubbed with small pieces of papers. After some time, pulls towards the paper to attract it to the balloon. So this is the invisible force to attract it to the balloon. Which one? The pieces of small papers. So one charged body and attracted to the another charged body is known as electrostatic force. The definition is electrostatic force. The charged body attracted to another charged body. Charged body is known as which force? Electrostatic force. One charged body attracted to the another charged body is known as electrostatic force. This force, electrostatic force, is example of field force. Which force? Field force. Second one. This is the example of field force. And third one is gravitational force. And third one is gravitational force. This is Gurutvakarshana balamu. Gravitational force is third one. So we slip into the chalk. The chalk piece were pull the earth. Why the chalk piece is upward direction and put on the sky? So some forces is attracted to the object to earth. So this is some invisible force acting on that body. So that force, when thrown up into the sky, when an object fall down, what happened? So these are the activities. And why do rivers flow down to sea? These are the so many examples. We finally conclude that that force is gravitational force. This force, gravitational force, first proposed by the most famous scientist is who's? Very good, Sir Isaac Newton. Who's? Sir Isaac Newton. Gravitational force. The gravitational force is, the definition is The attractive force. Attractive force between two massive objects. Two massive objects is known as which force? Gravitational force. Which force? Gravitational force. The attractive force between two massive objects is known as gravitational force. The attractive force between two massive objects is known as gravitational force. It denoted by capital G. Denoted by capital G. So, any object to thrown up into sky, that object is finally to attracted to the earth. Earth is just like a huge magnet, a big magnet. So, earth is a big magnet. So, any object to attracted to each. So, this is the gravitational force. This is also which example? Which one example is? Field force. This is also one example of field force. So, finally, magnetic force and electrostatic force and gravitational force. These are three forces, examples of field force or force at a distance. So, next one is which force? Contact force. Contact force. Contact force and its examples. Contact force, second one. And examples. First one is muscular force. Muscular force. Muscular force. Kandara balam. Kandara balam. Muscular force. We are also doing so many works in daily life, like brushing, bathing, eating, running, etc. So, while we are possible to drive a car on a road, and just like so many activities, and human beings and animals also, their activity, their physical activities, these forces are used. Which force? Muscular force. Muscular force. The muscular force is, the definition is, our body exerts the force exerted by our body muscles. Our body muscles is known as which force? Muscular force. Muscular force. See the children blackboard. The force exerted by our body muscles is known as muscular force. So, these muscular forces used, human beings and animals all doing their daily regular physical activities. Okay, this is muscular force. And next one is, this force is directly contact with all doing works. So, direct contact. So, we remember that one. Which force? Contact force. So, muscular force is the one of the best example of Contact force. And second one is frictional force. Second one is frictional force. Frictional force. Frictional force. Frictional force. Ghर्षण बलम. Ghर्षण बलम. Frictional force. So, we are possible to walking or running. I am possible to blackboard on the blackboard with the chalk piece and running. The vehicles are going on the road. It is comfortably. The frictional force is very important nowadays. This force is definition by the frictional force, resistance to move over the surface of another body. The frictional force, resistance to over the surface of another body. చూడండి, the friction is resistance the over the surface of another body is called friction. Is called which force? Frictional force. So frictional force is very important to daily life. So in these frictional forces is detailed explanation and second chapter. So this is also which one? Contact force. This is example for contact force. The force is resistance over the surface of the another body is called frictional force. So it is denoted by which letter? Small f. It is denoted by small f. So let's see the children. Which force? Second one is frictional force. The frictional force always opposes to the force to the object. So you are unable to walk, you unable to be able to walk, and you able to write, you able to running and slip, and so many activities and so many daily things. One is normal force. అవిలంబ బలము. Normal force. అవిలంబ బలము. So this force is doing some activity. The book is slipping down to the hand to fall on the earth. We clearly observe, children. And in this book is on the table. Put on the table. Why? The difference between the two situations. First one is the book is slips on, fall down to the earth. And next one is on the table. It is not fall down to the earth. Why? So in this situation, two forces acting on that body. In these situations, acting on the two bodies, two forces. So this is the bench or chair, and put on the book. Put on the book. So this is a downward direction. One force is acting on that body. Which force? Yes, very good. This is the gravitational force. This is gravitational force. Always downward direction. Which direction? Downward direction. And at that same time, the upward direction, one force is acting on that body. That body is at rest position. That body is at rest. At rest. That force is normal. Normal force. Normal force. So, how many forces acting on that body? Two forces, gravitational force and normal force. Finally, the definition is normal force. Normal force is direction of which is perpendicular to surface of the body. Perpendicular to surface of the body. Normal force is direction of the which is perpendicular to the plane of the surface. Plane of the surface. Okay, this is normal force. So in this book, acting on two forces, it is perpendicular to the book. So this force is which force? Normal force. Which force? Normal force. Next one is and final tension. Tanyatavanam. Fourth one is tension. Tanyatavanam. So the tensional force is always pulls the body along the thread. The tension force is always pulls the body along the thread. ఈ దారం along the thread. This is tensional force. ఈ దారం మీద కలిగజేసేటువంటి ఈ బలాన్ని మనం ఏమంటున్నాం? Tensional force. తన్యత బలం. So this is one example of which force? Contact force. So muscular force, frictional force and normal force, tensional force. Today children, we are discuss about the contact types of forces and types of forces, field forces with examples and contact force with examples. And next వచ్చేసి you understand this class? I am asking you some questions. What is force? How many types of forces? And what changes in objects acting the force? So in these questions, in this chapter, today we are learning about in this lesson. So first, today we are discussing what is force. What is force? And second one is types of forces. And first one, field force and contact force. Field force and contact force. The difference between the field force and contact force. What changes an object? The force acting on that body. The body force can changes at speed, direction, shape and state of motion. Okay? Next one, with field force examples and contact force examples. And this one is three types. One is magnetic force and electrostatic force. First one, magnetic force, and second example is electrostatic force. And third one is gravitational force. These are three examples of field force. And second one is contact force with examples. First one is muscular force. And second one is frictional force. And third one is normal force. And fourth one is tension. These four are example of contact force. And today we are learning about what is force. A pull or push is force. And types of forces. How many types? Two types. Contact force and field force, or a force at a distance. With examples. Field force examples: magnetic force, electrostatic force, gravitational force. And contact force examples: muscular force, frictional force, and normal force and tensional force. So this session is we are learning about in these topics, and I will explain next session of remaining lesson. Okay, children?